Mount Huashan's plank walk in China forces hikers to walk on wooden boards bolted to a cliff face 7,000 feet above ground with only a chain for safety. Hundreds have died on this trail, but China refuses to release the real numbers. Long's Peak in Colorado has killed over 70 people since 1884, and bodies are still recovered every year.
And we've also got an update for you about a man who died while hiking near the Keyhole on Long's Peak in Rocky Mountain National Park. 25-year-old Russell Jacobs from Westminster called a friend late Friday afternoon that he was lost.
Here are 40 of the most dangerous hiking trails in the world, where one wrong step means certain death. 1. Mount Huashan Plank Walk, China. Mount Huashan's plank walk forces hikers to traverse 12-inch wooden planks nailed directly into a vertical cliff face. The trail sits 7,000 feet above the ground, with only a rusted chain bolted into the mountain as protection. Weather conditions change without warning, causing the planks to become slippery and unstable. Falling means a straight drop to the valley floor below. China doesn't release official death statistics for the trail, but local reports estimate over 100 deaths per year. The harness system available at the base costs extra, and many hikers skip it to save money. Rescue operations are nearly impossible due to the extreme vertical terrain. The trail remains open despite its deadly reputation because it leads to a sacred temple that draws thousands of visitors annually. 2. The Maze, Canyonlands National Park, USA. The Maze is a 30-square-mile section of Utah's Canyonlands that requires 0 trail markers or established paths. Hikers navigate through identical-looking sandstone canyons, where GPS signals fail and cell service doesn't exist. Summer temperatures regularly hit 110 degrees, and water sources are non-existent. The nearest hospital sits 4 hours away by car from the closest access point. Search and rescue teams respond to multiple emergencies each year, but finding lost hikers takes days due to the complex terrain. Dehydration kills faster than most people realize, with symptoms becoming severe within 24 hours. Park rangers require hikers to register before entering and carry a minimum of 1 gallon of water per person per day. Even experienced desert hikers have died after underestimating the maze's disorienting layout. 3. Aongatite Forest Track, New Zealand. This New Zealand track crosses 20 swing bridges suspended over deep gorges and fast-moving rivers. The bridges sway violently in wind, with gaps wide enough to fall through between the wooden planks. Weather shifts from clear to stormy within minutes, making the bridges slippery and dangerous. 5 hikers have died on this trail in the past decade alone. The track requires crossing rivers that can flash flood during rainfall, trapping hikers on the wrong side. Many bridges lack proper maintenance, with rotting wood and frayed cables going unrepaired for months. Cell phone coverage is spotty at best, making emergency calls impossible from most locations. New Zealand's Department of Conservation warns that this trail should only be attempted by experienced hikers in good weather. 4. Half Dome Cables, Yosemite, USA. Half Dome's final 400-foot ascent uses 2 metal cables bolted into smooth granite, angled at 45 degrees. Over 60 people have died on the section since cables were installed in 1919. When rain hits, the granite becomes as slippery as ice, and lightning strikes are common. Hikers must pull themselves up using only arm strength while their feet slide on wet rock. The National Park Service now requires permits after multiple fatal falls each summer. Most deaths occur during afternoon thunderstorms when hikers are caught on the exposed dome. The cables remove during winter, but people still attempt the climb and fall to their deaths. Park rangers recover bodies several times per year from the base of the dome. 5. Kalalau Trail, Hawaii, USA. The Kalalau Trail on Kauai's Na Pali coast is an 11-mile track where the path is only 12 inches wide in sections. On one side is a 3,000-foot cliff drop straight into the Pacific Ocean with no guardrails or safety barriers. Flash floods wash away parts of the trail during heavy rains, leaving gaps that hikers must jump across. 3 to 5 people die on this trail every year. The trail sees over 100 rescues annually from injuries, dehydration, and hikers stranded by high surf. Many underestimate the difficulty and attempt the hike in flip-flops or without adequate water. Helicopter rescues cost thousands of dollars and aren't always possible in bad weather. The first 2 miles are the most dangerous, with multiple narrow sections carved into sheer cliff faces. 6. El Caminito del Rey, Spain. El Caminito del Rey is a 3-foot wide walkway pinned to vertical cliffs 300 feet above a gorge. The original pathway, built in 1905, fell into disrepair, with sections missing entirely and only rusted support beams remaining. 5 people died falling from the deteriorated path before officials closed it in 2000. A new reinforced walkway opened in 2015, but sections of the old trail remain visible below. Even the renovated path requires walking on narrow concrete attached to smooth cliff faces. Strong winds funnel through the gorge, making it difficult to maintain balance. The gorge floor is littered with jagged rocks that would kill anyone who falls. Visitors must wear hard hats throughout the entire walk due to frequent rock falls from above. 7. Drakensberg Traverse, South Africa. The Drakensberg Traverse is a multi-day hike through South Africa's highest mountain range, reaching elevations over 11,000 feet. Hikers face sudden temperature drops, from 80 degrees to below freezing, often with zero warning. The trail requires climbing chain ladders bolted into vertical rock faces while wearing heavy packs. 14 hikers have died on this route in the past 15 years. Lightning storms develop rapidly at high elevation, turning exposed ridges into death traps. The nearest medical facility is a 2-day hike away from most sections of the trail. Altitude sickness affects many hikers, causing confusion and poor decision-making. Mountain rescue teams can't reach certain sections, leaving injured hikers stranded until weather permits helicopter evacuation. 8. Cascade Saddle, New Zealand. Cascade Saddle is a 6-mile track through New Zealand's Southern Alps with no marked trail for the final 3 miles. Hikers must cross a river that changes depth daily based on glacier melt and rainfall. The route travels over loose scree slopes where rocks give way without warning. 6 experienced hikers have died on this trail since 2010. Weather conditions change so fast that hikers start in sunshine and end in blizzard conditions within hours. The saddle itself sits at 5,900 feet with exposure to winds exceeding 60 miles per hour. Hypothermia kills quickly in wet clothing when temperatures drop. Rescue helicopters can't fly in poor weather, leaving injured hikers exposed overnight. 9. Angel's Landing, Zion National Park, USA. Angel's Landing ends with a half-mile stretch where hikers walk along a narrow rock fin with 1,000-foot drops on both sides. Chains provide handholds, but they're often crowded with dozens of people trying to pass each other. 13 people have fallen to their deaths from this section since 2000. The rock surface is smooth sandstone that becomes slippery from sweat and moisture. Most deaths occur when hikers lose their grip while trying to let others pass on the narrow spine. The final summit is only 5 feet wide with sheer drops on every side. Wind gusts can reach 40 miles per hour, strong enough to knock people off balance. Park rangers now use a permit system to limit crowds, but accidents still happen regularly. 10. Huayna Picchu, Peru. Huayna Picchu rises 1,000 feet above Machu Picchu with Incan stone steps that are 2 feet tall and 6 inches deep. The steps are so steep that hikers must use both hands and feet to climb. Sections of the trail are only 18 inches wide, with drops of several hundred feet on one or both sides. 4 tourists have fallen to their deaths from these steps in recent years. Morning fog and afternoon rain make the stones dangerously slippery. The Incas built these steps over 500 years ago without modern safety standards. Worn stone and loose rocks create unstable footing throughout the climb. Peru limits the number of daily hikers to 400, but accidents continue to occur despite the restrictions. 11. Devil's Path, Catskill Mountains, USA. Devil's Path covers 25 miles through New York's Catskill Mountains, with over 17,000 feet of elevation gain and loss. The trail crosses 6 mountain peaks, with near-vertical rock scrambles between each summit. Loose rocks, exposed roots, and steep drop-offs make falls common and often fatal. 8 hikers have died on this trail in the past 2 decades. The path earned its name from the brutal difficulty that exhausts even experienced hikers. Many sections require pulling yourself up using tree roots and branches while wearing a full backpack. Weather at higher elevations can turn deadly fast, with temperatures dropping 30 degrees in an hour. Cell service is non-existent, making emergency calls impossible for most of the trail. 12. Striding Edge, Lake District, England. Striding Edge is a knife-edge ridge where hikers walk along a rocky spine only 3 feet wide with 700-foot drops on both sides. High winds regularly exceed 50 miles per hour, strong enough to knock people over the edge. The rocks are loose volcanic stone that shifts underfoot. 5 people die on this ridge every year on average. Most deaths occur when hikers attempt the crossing in poor visibility or high winds. The safest method is to straddle the ridge and slide forward, but this takes hours and many refuse. Rescue helicopters respond to multiple emergencies weekly during peak season. Bad weather can pin hikers on the ridge for hours with no shelter. 13. Precipice Trail, Acadia National Park, USA. Precipice Trail climbs 1,000 vertical feet up a sheer cliff face using iron rungs and narrow ledges. The rungs are spaced far apart, requiring large stretches to reach the next handhold. Sections of the climb are completely vertical, with nothing but air behind you. 3 hikers have fallen to their deaths from this trail in recent years. The National Park Service closes the trail during peregrine falcon nesting season, but people still climb illegally. Rain makes the iron rungs extremely slippery, and strong winds make it hard to maintain 3 points of contact. One section requires a full pull-up to reach the next rung while your feet dangle free. Park rangers warn that anyone afraid of heights should not attempt this trail. 14. Via Ferrata, Italian Dolomites. The Italian Dolomites feature dozens of Via Ferrata routes, with steel cables and iron rungs drilled into vertical mountain faces. These routes reach heights over 10,000 feet with constant exposure to 1,000-foot drops. Lightning strikes are common at high elevation, and steel cables conduct electricity directly to climbers. 7 people died on Dolomite Via Ferratas last year alone. Many routes require crossing narrow ledges where one misstep means falling hundreds of feet. Weather changes happen within minutes, trapping climbers in storms. The cables and rungs corrode over time, sometimes breaking free from the rock. Rescue operations are extremely difficult due to the vertical terrain and altitude. 15. Trolltunga, Norway. Trolltunga is a rock formation jutting 2,300 feet above Lake Ringadalsvatnet in Norway. The hike to reach it is 17 miles round trip, with 3,300 feet of elevation gain over rocky terrain. The rock itself extends 23 feet horizontally from the cliff, with no safety barriers. 6 people have died falling from or near Trolltunga since 2015. Most deaths occur when hikers get too close to the edge for photos and lose their footing. Weather at this elevation changes rapidly, with snow possible even in summer months. The approach hike takes 10 to 12 hours, leaving exhausted hikers making poor decisions at the summit. Norwegian rescue services respond to over 50 emergencies on this trail every year. 16. Bright Angel Trail to Plateau Point, Grand Canyon, USA. The trail from Bright Angel to Plateau Point drops 3,000 feet into the Grand Canyon with no shade and temperatures exceeding 120 degrees. Over 250 people require rescue from this trail every year, with an average of 12 deaths annually. Most deaths come from heat exhaustion and dehydration, not falls. The Colorado River sits another 1,000 feet below the trail with no safe way down. Hikers often underestimate the difficulty of climbing back out of the canyon in extreme heat. The trail is wide and well maintained, but the combination of heat, altitude change, and distance kills healthy adults regularly. Park rangers call it going down is optional, coming up is mandatory. Helicopter rescues happen multiple times per week during summer months. 17. The Maze at Ben Nevis, Scotland. Ben Nevis is the UK's highest peak at 4,413 feet. But the Tower Ridge route on its north face is one of Britain's deadliest climbs. The ridge is a series of rock towers with significant exposure and technical scrambling required. Weather conditions are notoriously unpredictable, with visibility dropping to zero without warning. 3 to 5 climbers die on this mountain every year. Most deaths occur when hikers attempt the climb in poor conditions or darkness. The descent is even more dangerous than the ascent, with many getting lost in fog. Sub-zero temperatures and high winds create rapid hypothermia risks. Scottish mountain rescue teams respond to over 100 emergencies on Ben Nevis annually. 18. Mount Washington, New Hampshire, USA. Mount Washington holds the record for the highest wind speed ever recorded on Earth at 231 miles per hour. The mountain's weather has killed over 150 people, more than any other mountain under 7,000 feet in the world. Temperature at the summit can be 50 degrees colder than at the base, with conditions changing in minutes. Ice forms on the trail even in summer months. The Tuckerman Ravine route includes steep sections where hikers cross snowfields that can avalanche without warning. Hypothermia kills hikers who underestimate the weather and don't bring proper gear. The summit sees hurricane-force winds over 100 days per year. Search and rescue teams recover bodies from this mountain every year. 19. Cribgoch, Snowdonia, Wales. Cribgoch is a knife-edge ridge in Wales, where hikers scramble over jagged rocks with 600-foot drops on both sides. The ridge is only 2 to 3 feet wide in sections with loose rock that shifts unexpectedly. Strong winds are constant, and the rock becomes incredibly slippery when wet. 4 to 6 people die on this ridge every year. Most accidents happen when hikers freeze from fear and can't move forward or backward. The ridge requires scrambling with hands and feet for over half a mile of continuous exposure. Rescue by helicopter is difficult due to the narrow ridge and unpredictable winds. Many experienced climbers consider this more dangerous than much higher peaks. 20. Capitol Peak, Colorado, USA. Capitol Peak's knife edge is a 100-foot section of ridge, only 12 to 18 inches wide, with 2,000-foot drops on each side. Climbers must walk across this exposed section while at 14,000 feet elevation, where altitude sickness affects judgment. The rock is loose and holds frequently break away without warning. 9 people have died on Capitol Peak since 2000. Most deaths occur on the descent when fatigue and altitude sickness impair decision-making. Weather at 14,000 feet changes instantly, with lightning strikes common on the exposed ridge. One small mistake or momentary loss of balance means falling thousands of feet. Colorado Search and Rescue rates this as one of the most dangerous standard hiking routes in the state. Longs Peak Keyhole Route, Colorado, USA. Longs Peak's Keyhole Route is Colorado's deadliest trail with over 60 documented deaths since 1884. The route requires scrambling across the Narrows, a 300-foot section of narrow ledges with sheer drops on both sides. Hikers climb through the trough, a steep gully filled with loose rocks that give way without warning. Most deaths occur from falls, lightning strikes, or hypothermia when weather turns deadly at altitude. The 15-mile round trip gains 5,100 feet in elevation, and altitude sickness affects judgment near the 14,259-foot summit. Summer thunderstorms develop by early afternoon, trapping hikers on exposed rock where lightning kills regularly. Rocky Mountain Rescue responds to over 20 emergencies on this peak every year. The route requires starting before dawn to summit and descend before storms arrive. But many hikers ignore this advice and die as a result. West Coast Trail, Vancouver Island, Canada. The West Coast Trail spans 47 miles along Vancouver Island's rugged Pacific coastline, where hikers cross surged channels on slippery rocks. Rogue waves sweep people off coastal sections without warning, and several hikers drown every year. The trail includes over 100 ladders, many rotted and unstable, with some extending 60 feet up vertical cliff faces. Rescue operations require helicopter evacuation and can take days to organize. Hypothermia kills hikers caught in rain without proper gear. With temperatures dropping rapidly along the exposed coast, the trail crosses multiple rivers via cable cars that hikers must pull themselves across while the current rages below. Parks Canada requires advance reservations and a mandatory safety briefing, but deaths still occur regularly. Cell phone service is non-existent for the entire route, making emergency calls impossible. GR20, Corsica, France. The GR20 traverses 112 miles across Corsica's mountainous interior and holds the title of Europe's toughest long-distance trail. The route includes steep granite scrambles, exposed ridgelines, and sections where painted markers are the only guide. 2 to 3 hikers die on this trail every year from falls, exhaustion, or getting lost in fog. Weather changes within minutes at high elevation, turning trails into slick death traps. The trail gains and loses over 32,000 feet of elevation total, exhausting even fit hikers within the first few days. Many sections require scrambling with hands and feet across loose rock with significant exposure. Summer heat and lack of water sources lead to severe dehydration. French rescue services conduct over 50 helicopter evacuations from the GR20 annually. Mount Pilatus Easel Trail, Switzerland. Mount Pilatus's Eisel Trail is Switzerland's steepest hiking route, climbing 5,300 feet in just 2.8 miles. The path ascends via rough-cut steps, exposed roots, and steel cables bolted into near-vertical rock faces. Sections require pulling yourself up hand over hand while your feet search for holds on smooth stone. Several hikers have fallen to their deaths when wet conditions made the trail impossibly slippery. The trail name Eisel means donkey, named for the pack animals that once carried supplies up this brutal route. Modern hikers face the same challenges those animals did, but with a 7,000-foot drop on one side. Weather at the summit differs drastically from the base, catching unprepared hikers in dangerous conditions. Swiss rescue teams respond to injuries and evacuations on this trail multiple times each season. Cliffs of Moher Coastal Walk, Ireland. The Cliffs of Moher Coastal Walk follows the edge of 700-foot sea cliffs, with no barriers or fencing along most sections. Strong Atlantic winds regularly exceed 50 miles per hour, powerful enough to knock people over the edge. The path runs within inches of the cliff edge in places, and erosion causes rock to crumble without warning. 8 to 10 people die falling from these cliffs every year. The official cliff viewing platforms see most of the tourist traffic, but the coastal walk continues for miles beyond the safe zones. Fog rolls in suddenly, reducing visibility to zero, while hikers walk along the cliff edge. The rocks are constantly wet from ocean spray, making footing treacherous. Irish rescue services recover bodies from the base of these cliffs regularly throughout the year. Mount Kinabalu Lows Peak Circuit, Malaysia. Mount Kinabalu's Lows Peak Circuit requires climbing fixed ropes up smooth granite slabs at 13,000 feet. The final push to the 13,435-foot summit happens in darkness, with hikers using headlamps to navigate slippery rock faces. The granite becomes extremely slick when wet, and rain is common. 6 climbers died here in 2015 when an earthquake triggered rock slides that swept people off the mountain. Altitude sickness affects many climbers at this elevation, causing confusion and poor decision-making. The descent is more dangerous than the ascent, with exhausted climbers slipping on smooth rock. Weather changes rapidly, with clear conditions turning to storms within an hour. Malaysian rescue teams conduct multiple evacuations from this mountain every month. Tiger Leaping Gorge High Trail, China. Tiger Leaping Gorge High Trail clings to cliff faces 6,000 feet above the raging Jinsha River. Landslides occur frequently, burying sections of the trail under tons of rock and debris. The path is only 12 to 18 inches wide in places with straight drops to the river below. 4 to 6 hikers die on this trail each year from falls or being caught in rock slides. Local villagers maintain parts of the trail, but many sections receive no upkeep and are dangerously deteriorated. The trail passes through areas where rocks constantly break loose from cliffs above. Flash flooding in the gorge can strand hikers on the wrong side of washed-out bridges. Chinese authorities don't publish official death statistics, but local guides report regular fatalities. Kokoda Track, Papua New Guinea. The Kokoda Track covers 60 miles through Papua New Guinea's Owen Stanley Range, with over 15,000 feet of elevation gain. Hikers die from heat exhaustion, tropical diseases, and falls on mud-slicked trails. The route crosses steep mountain ridges where trails are often just churned mud on extreme slopes. Medical evacuation can take days, and several hikers have died waiting for rescue. Temperatures exceed 95 degrees, with near 100% humidity, causing rapid dehydration and heat stroke. The trail passes through remote jungle where venomous snakes and spiders are common. Many sections have no water sources, forcing hikers to carry heavy loads in extreme heat. Malaria and other tropical diseases kill hikers who don't take proper precautions. Maroon Bells, Four Pass Loop, Colorado, USA. The Maroon Bells area is known as the Deadly Bells after killing more climbers than any other Colorado peak. The Four Pass Loop circles these mountains, crossing 4 high-altitude passes over 12,000 feet. Loose rock called Rotten Rock crumbles underfoot and has caused numerous fatal falls. 9 people have died on Maroon Peak alone in recent years. The loop covers 28 miles with over 8,000 feet of elevation gain through remote wilderness. Afternoon thunderstorms develop daily in summer, trapping hikers on exposed passes where lightning is deadly. The rock is so unstable that standard climbing techniques don't work, making even simple sections dangerous. Colorado Search and Rescue rates this as one of the state's most hazardous routes. Decimo Annapurna Circuit, Thorong La Pass, Nepal. Thorong La Pass sits at 17,769 feet on Nepal's Annapurna Circuit, making it one of the highest trekking passes in the world. Acute mountain sickness kills several trekkers here every year when they ascend too quickly. The pass is often closed by snow and ice, with whiteout conditions common. Bodies of trekkers who died from altitude sickness or exposure are found on this pass regularly. Temperatures at the pass can drop to -20 degrees Fahrenheit, causing frostbite and hypothermia within minutes. Many trekkers push on despite altitude sickness symptoms, leading to fatal pulmonary or cerebral edema. The nearest medical facility capable of treating altitude sickness is days away. Nepalese rescue operations are limited, and helicopter evacuation depends on weather that is often too severe for flying. The Subway, Zion National Park, USA. The Subway is a slot canyon route in Zion where flash floods have killed multiple hikers. The trail requires swimming through cold water, climbing over boulders, and rappelling down waterfalls. Rain miles away can send walls of water through the canyon in minutes, giving hikers no time to escape. The National Park Service restricts permits after several drowning deaths. The route is extremely slippery, with polished rock that offers almost no traction when wet. Hypothermia is a major risk even in summer due to prolonged exposure to cold water. Cell service doesn't exist in the canyon, and rescue is nearly impossible during floods. Park rangers have recovered bodies swept downstream during flash floods multiple times. Chilkoot Trail, Alaska/Canada border. The Chilkoot Trail is a 33-mile route from Alaska into Canada that killed thousands during the 1898 gold rush. The Golden Stairs section climbs 1,000 feet in half a mile up Loose Scree at a 35-degree angle. Avalanches killed 60 people in a single day during the gold rush, and avalanche danger remains high. Weather at the summit is severe year-round, with sudden whiteout conditions. Modern hikers face many of the same dangers that killed gold rush stampeders over a century ago. The Canadian side of the trail is remote wilderness, with no cell service or nearby help. Hypothermia and exhaustion kill hikers who underestimate the brutal conditions. Bear attacks are also a real threat in this isolated region. Mount Baldy, Mount San Antonio, California, USA. Mount Baldy has killed over 16 hikers in the past decade alone, making it one of California's deadliest peaks. The trail gains 3,900 feet to reach the 10,064-foot summit, with exposure to severe weather year-round. Ice and snow persist even in summer, causing fatal falls down steep slopes. Several hikers have slid thousands of feet to their deaths after losing footing on icy sections. The mountain's weather is notoriously unpredictable, with sudden storms trapping hikers in whiteout conditions. Many deaths occur when day hikers attempt the summit without proper equipment. The Devil's Backbone section is a narrow ridge with 1,000-foot drops on both sides. San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department conducts multiple body recoveries from this mountain every year. Empit Belas, Mount Rinjani, Indonesia. Mount Rinjani is an active volcano in Indonesia, where the trail to the 12,224-foot summit has killed several climbers. The final ascent is a steep scree slope where loose volcanic rock gives way constantly. Climbers must start the summit push at 2 a.m. to avoid afternoon storms that bring deadly lightning. Several hikers have died from falls or being struck by lightning. The trail circles a massive crater lake, with sections carved into steep mountainsides prone to landslides. Altitude sickness affects many climbers, and medical facilities are hours away. A magnitude 6.9 earthquake in 2018 stranded hundreds of hikers and killed several guides. Indonesian rescue operations are limited, and evacuation can take days. Pico Ruivo Trail, Madeira, Portugal. Pico Ruivo is Madeira's highest peak at 6,109 feet, reached by trails carved into vertical cliff faces. The path includes sections with sheer drops of over 1,000 feet and no guardrails. Weather changes instantly, with fog reducing visibility to zero while hikers walk along cliff edges. Strong Atlantic winds can knock people off balance on exposed sections. The trail is often slippery from rain and cloud moisture that never fully dries. Several hikers have fallen to their deaths from the narrow paths carved into the mountainside. Rescue operations are difficult due to the vertical terrain and unpredictable weather. Portuguese authorities regularly evacuate injured hikers from this trail by helicopter. Clouds Rest Trail, Yosemite National Park, USA. Clouds Rest rises 1,000 feet higher than Half Dome at 9,926 feet, with even more exposure and danger. The final ridge to the summit is only 3 feet wide, with 1,000-foot drops on both sides. The trail covers 14.5 miles, with over 2,300 feet of elevation gain on steep, rocky terrain. Several hikers have fallen to their deaths from the narrow summit ridge. Lightning strikes are common at this exposed elevation, killing hikers caught in afternoon storms. The trail receives far less traffic than Half Dome, meaning help is less likely if something goes wrong. Many sections traverse smooth granite that becomes deadly slippery when wet. Yosemite's search and rescue team responds to multiple emergencies on this trail every season. Mount Whitney Trail, California, USA. Mount Whitney is the highest peak in the lower 48 states at 14,505 feet, and altitude sickness has killed multiple hikers. The 22-mile round-trip trail gains over 6,000 feet, exhausting even experienced hikers. The final 2 miles cross exposed switchbacks where falls are often fatal. Weather can turn deadly within minutes, with lightning, hail, and snow, possible even in summer. Most deaths occur when day hikers push beyond their limits, trying to summit and descend in one day. Altitude sickness causes confusion, leading to fatal mistakes on exposed sections. The trail is often icy even in late summer, causing hikers to slip and fall. Inyo County Sheriff's Department conducts multiple body recoveries from Mount Whitney every year. Haute Route, Switzerland/France border. The Haute Route is a 112-mile trek from Chamonix, France to Zermatt, Switzerland, through high-altitude terrain. The route crosses multiple glacier fields where crevasses can swallow hikers without warning. Weather at elevation is severe, with storms developing suddenly and lasting for days. Several hikers die on this route every year from falls, avalanches, or exposure. Many sections require technical skills and glacier travel equipment that most hikers don't have. The route passes through areas where rescue is extremely difficult and expensive. Altitude sickness is common at the high passes, some exceeding 10,000 feet. Swiss and French rescue teams conduct numerous evacuations from the Haute Route every season. Devinio Lictas Fitzroy Trek, Laguna de los Tres, Argentina. The trek to Laguna de los Tres below Mount Fitzroy crosses terrain where weather changes with zero warning. Patagonian winds regularly exceed 100 miles per hour, strong enough to knock hikers off their feet. The final climb to the lagoon is a steep scramble over loose rock and boulder fields. Several hikers have been swept off mountains by extreme winds. Temperatures can drop 40 degrees in an hour, causing rapid hypothermia when combined with wind and rain. The region sees over 200 days of precipitation per year, making dry conditions rare. Rescue services in this remote area of Patagonia are limited and slow to respond. Many hikers underestimate Patagonian weather and end up stranded in life-threatening conditions. Cathedral Peak, Drakensberg, South Africa. Cathedral Peak requires scrambling over exposed rock faces at 10,000 feet with significant drop-offs. The route includes climbing chain ladders similar to the Drakensberg Traverse, but with even more exposure. Weather develops rapidly, with fog and storms, creating dangerous conditions on exposed ridges. 5 climbers have died on this peak in recent years. The rock is loose in many sections, with holds breaking away under weight. Lightning storms are common and deadly at this elevation. The nearest medical facility is over 2 hours away by car from the trailhead. South African Mountain Rescue responds to multiple emergencies on Cathedral Peak every year, with helicopter evacuation often required. These 20 trails show that deadly hiking routes exist on every continent. The death tolls aren't speculation. Bodies are recovered from these locations every single year. Weather, altitude, and exposure combine to create killers that don't care about experience levels. Anyone planning extreme hikes should know exactly what they're getting into before it's too late. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more, beyond belief facts, click on the video appearing on your screen now and remember to hit the subscribe button.